Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Osman Lufi bin Muhammad Zaki. Today I will be presenting on topic under the course DBT 362 Building Economy, which focus on approximate estimating in construction. In the construction industry, establishing an early accurate budget forecast is a vital for any project feasibility. This presentation will cover how approximate estimating serves as a fundamental tool to help client and developer evaluate costs before detailed design are even finalized. Without any further, let's jump into definition of approximate estimating. Moving on to the introduction. What exactly is approximate estimating? Approximate estimating, also known as a preliminary estimate, it is the process of predicting the probable cost of a construction project before detailed design are finalized or bill of quantities are prepared. So, why is it important? There are three main reasons. First, it provides the client with an earlier financial forecast to assess project feasibility. Second, it act as a guide for designer, preventing them from wasting time and resource on complex design that exceed the client actual budget. And last but not least, it establishes a clear cost ceiling for strict economy control through the entire design development stage. Next, let's look at the four core purposes of approximate estimating during the early stage of a project. First, we have budget fixation. It's helped the client set a realistic financial limit for the proposed development. It's preventing unexpected overspending. Next, we have design alternative. It's allow consultant to perform value engineering and compare the cost benefit of different structural system or material choice. Next, we have evaluating feasibility. It ensures the project is economically viable and truly worthwhile relative to the available capital. And last but not least, we have financial procurement. It provides financial institution, investor, or bank with the necessary cost data to approve project funding and secure loan. Ultimately, these four pillars ensure that a project starts on a solid financial ground. Now, let's explore the common type of method used in approximate estimating. There are four methods I want to present here. First is unit method. Next is story enclosure method. Third is area method. And last but not least is cubic method. Let's jump into the first method, which is the unit method. This method works by simplifying the multiplying the total number of functional units by predetermine the cost per unit. For example, if a private company want to build a new specialized hospital with a capacity 200 beds and the historical cost per bed is 350,000 ringgit, our estimated cost become 2,000 bed, 200 bed multiplied by 350,000 ringgit, giving us total of 70 million ringgit. This method is highly suitable for the project like hospital, school, or hotel. How about the advantage? The first advantage is extremely fast to calculate because it's rely on a simple mathematical formula. Another advantage is easily to understand by non-technical client. It was easy to explain to stakeholder or client who do not have background in construction. The limitation is very low accuracy because it doesn't count on the building physical shape and structural height, architecture complexity, or high-end aesthetic feature. Next, let's look to the story enclosure method. This technique calculates costs by measuring different parts of the building such as floor, upper floor, roof, and external walls. Each component is given a specific weighting mark because building an external wall has completely different cost than a building a floor. As shown in the example, summing up this separate waiting part gives us the total estimate of 135,000 ringgit. This is highly suitable for unique building where the overall shape and external enclosure heavily impact the total cost. How about the advantage? First advantage is actually highly accurate. By breaking the building down into separate physical components, it provides as much more precise and dependable cost estimate compared to simpler method. How about the limitation? The limitation is complex and time consuming. This method requires calculating individual weighting and detailed measurement for each part of the structure, making the process slower and more complicated. Moving forward to the area method. This works by calculating the total gross floor area or GFA, measured for external wall to internal wall. We then simplify the multiply this total area by a standard cost per square meter. For example, if a building has a GFA of 1000 square meter and the historical rate is 1000 ringgit per square meter, our estimate cost come up to 1 million ringgit. This method is best and suitable for structure where floor space serve as the primary cost driver, such as residential house, standard shop office, and commercial center. Looking at the advantage, there are some advantage which is fast and simple. It is easy to calculate because it only requires basic floor dimension and straightforward multiplication formula. And the limitation is it ignores complex design. It treats all square meter equally, so it cannot account for premium material, intricate architectural shape, or specialized structural engineering requirement. Finally, the cubic method. This method works by calculating the total cost based on the 3D volume of the building in cubic meter. As shown in the example, we first find the total volume by multiplying the length, width, and height, giving us 2,700 cubic meter. Then, we multiply this total volume by a historical rate such as 180 ringgit per cubic meter to get a project estimate of 486,000 ringgit. This is suitable for tall structure or building with large vertical space like high-rise building, multi-story hotel, and large warehouse. Looking at the advantage is more realistic for tall structure because it gives a fair budget representation for project defined by their height or volume. The limitation is inaccurate for open or void space. Large empty volume inside a building can easily distort the overall cost calculation. Let's move to the project application. The project has been proposed is 4 permanent two-story shop office unit on lot 60714 to 60717. The location of the project is Gertak 100 Kuala Besut at Terengganu Darul Iman. The chosen method for this project is area method. So why is the area method the best choice for this project? Here are the three simple reasons. First, matches building typology. This is a standard two-story shop office for commercial properties. Floor space is the main driver of both cost and revenue. Second, high data availability. Construction database in Malaysia widely archive shop office price in ringgit Malaysia per meter square. This make it is very easy to find reliable historical rate for the Terengganu region. And last but not least, regular and simple shape. The floor plan is a basic rectangle with repetitive grid line. Because the shape is simple and straight, we don't need complicated method. The area method gives us the perfect balance of speed and accuracy. Now, let's look at the actual area measurement for our project calculation. Overall width, Combining our grid dimension gives us a total width of 26.358 meters. For overall depth, summing up the depth segment gives us 21.873 meters. For then multiplying width by depth for gross rectangle area, we got 576.47 square meter per floor. Total gross floor area, since this is two-story building, we double that amount, giving us a final total approximate gross floor area of 1,152.94 square meters. Finally, let's look at how we get the total estimate. Adopted rate. We choose a standard rate of 2,350 ringgit per square meter, which fit the current market condition and material price. For the calculation, multiplying our total gross floor area of 1,152.94 square meter by this rate give us the final amount. As the result, the total estimate cost for this project using the floor area method is 2,707,200 ringgit. Now, let's look how reliable is our 2.7 million estimate. It is moderately high based on 5 these key factors. First, material price. Our rate is highly reliable because it directly accounts for recent price shift. Second, location. Being in Besut away from major supplier might push up transport costs for material. Third, labor. On the bright side, building in a rural area like Kuala Besut can potentially lower a labor cost. Four, inflation. Costs can change over time. For example, the price index of sand in Terengganu rose by roughly 16% year on year in April 2026. And last but not least, soil condition. Besut coastal location means there is a high chance of soft soil, which could require expensive piling foundation that could affect the baseline budget. To wrap up my presentation, I will conclude that approximate estimating is highly effective for early stage project costing. For this specific two-story shop office, the area method proved to be the most practical choice, giving us a reasonably accurate baseline budget for reliable decision making. To make sure future estimate even better, I recommended using the latest local cost data and perform through the site investigation before fixing the final budget. This will protect the project from risks like unexpected soil condition, inflation, or sudden material price change. That's all from me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.